Cannot avoid that elephant in the room. It's not an elephant. It's actually a neighbor next to all of us right now. I'm
Yeah.
talking about conversational AI. I'm talking about
Ooh.
generative AI. All right. So, what kind of effect you see from where you are? I love bringing up this question with all my guests here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Generative is everywhere, and I don't think it's just buzz or hype. There's a lot of folks that they think that there's hype cycles, and I do agree that technology typically does get pushed through these troughs and crests and troughs and crests. The reason I think generative is not really going to trough anytime soon is because we're getting better at meshing it into our strategy, right? At first, generative was just used for spamming messages out and dropping the person's first name in and maybe some little blurb that came from their LinkedIn profile. And it was sort of personalized, but very impersonal. And now we're getting to a place where we've got, CRMs that have generative AI built into them, and they're able to read two or three different data sources and then come up with a truly novel email that wasn't written by anyone in particular, but it actually makes like it sounds like the author spent some time writing it. The first things that I saw in the RevOps world that were generative were related to that. But later, we started to see, back office ideas, mapping out your revenue engine and knowing how all the fields talk to each other, what the relationships are, and how the formula fields are going. That can be very difficult to understand. And there's a number of companies now that are using generative technology that connect to your Salesforce, connect to your HubSpot, connect to, your revenue technology, and they quickly create essentially documentation for you. So instead of using the generative technology to generate responses to clients, it's using the generative technology to read your data model and then spit out, here's a list of all your tables, here's your top 20 customers, here's everything you need sort of like laid out in front of you. So yeah, it's really everywhere. And now we're starting to figure out ways that we can leverage it to enhance client experience, to speed up the sales cycle, to reduce the churn rate, and in general to just enhance our ability to meaningfully change the lives of our customers without spending a ton of money trying to do so. Because obviously, business is about profit, not just about top line.
absolutely. What about automation and process efficiency? Look like when we're improving customer experience, when we're improving employee experience, right? Internal processes. What kind of effect you seeing, happening out there in the
Mm.
organizations?
Yeah. Well, automation's been around for a long time, and I know you know that with your own background. But the first point that I was talking about, the generative, is really what's exciting because automation is only as good as the brain that's driving it. And when you're able to generate things and then automate on the back of that in real time, you've got a lot more oomph. And again, the example that I gave earlier is still a good one here, where you've got generative coming up with the message body, and then the automation sending it based on whatever the correct time to send it is to engage with that prospect. Yeah, automation is definitely increasing in terms of its influence, and I think that as the natural language and other artificial intelligence increase in capability, you're going to find the role of automation getting less and less mundane. Meaning, right now, automation still largely isn't too smart. Right, automation still it's the same relative number of known processes and influences and forces that are all just kind of being pushed through a data fabric of some kind. We're getting to a place where you're going to be able to almost talk to a GPT-5 and say, hey, my company's priorities are lowering my cost per click while increasing my average value of my customer. I don't want to market on these 15 platforms. And, I think my ICP is this, but feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, and hit enter. And then you spit out like a 15-page dissertation. I don't know if I'm ever going to feel comfortable having a fully autonomous revenue engine where I am just at the beach and it's calling customers for me and sending emails and doing everything. I don't think I'll ever want to get my hands fully off the reins like that, but I love automation taking away as much of that as possible so that I can focus on the high lever, high fulcrum events that really have like larger impact.